Welcome to episode 3 of the podcast. It has been quite a while since the last episode, but we're back. I'm going to be honest with you. We get pretty deep in this one. We go to a weird place, but we bring it back, I promise. If you only listen to the program on the listening platforms, you're going to want to go to YouTube and watch this one. And if you only watch on YouTube, what are you doing? You're missing like 20 minutes of the music segment at the end of each episode. Go over to Spotify, Apple Music, iHeart Radio, and listen to the audio version. Anyway, Eric Krogman is back on the program. This is episode 3 of the Ticklish podcast. Cue the intro. Welcome back, Eric. How you doing?
Great. How are you?
Good. Doing well.
Well, as good as can be.
As good as we can be. Yeah. How's life going? How are things since the last time we've been on the show?
It's good. It's a little chaotic.
Yeah.
It's
any
good.
New activities with the baby? Any new dogs? Any new cats?
No more animals. We hit 3 months with the baby.
Nice.
So now he's laughing a lot more, smiling a lot more.
Starting to see that personality?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Still hates tummy time, but he can hold that head right up.
Nice. Has anything changed in your life since last time? Anything new?
Actually, yes. I can't believe I didn't tell you this, but we'll go into it later. Because
We'll go into it later.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
Yes. In our home life.
In your home life.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Uh-huh.
Interesting. The Ticklish podcast is supported by Goli Nutrition. Goli Nutrition gummies are a convenient and delicious way to incorporate your essential vitamins and nutrients into your daily health routine. Goli gummies provide great health benefits. They taste absolutely amazing and contain no artificial sweeteners or flavors. They are all gluten-free and vegan. I take everything they offer during the day: ashwagandha, apple cider vinegar, super fruits, super greens, immune support, and Beats Cardio gummies. And then at night, I take the Dreamy Sleep melatonin and magnesium gummies to help me fall asleep and stay asleep. Go to Goli.com and use promo code Ticklish at checkout to get 10% off any regular order or 25% off your first subscription order. That's Goli.com. Use promo code TICKLISH at checkout to get 10% off your first regular order or 25% off your first subscription order. Goli. Taste your goals. All right. Well, on this show, I like to play a game. It's a card game, kind of a topic conversation starter called How Deep Will You Go? You pull a couple of cards. They have topics on it to discuss, some deep conversation. I'm going to play the Instagram video to just to remind everyone at home kind of what this is, and we'll get into it.
About 100 million people have seen me laying with 2 girls I don't know and playing a game with them. Well, the game is this, but first, there's a backstory. 3 years ago, me and my friends started this series where we would go to colleges and ask a series of deep questions. The goal was to open up a side of them they never show, and people from all over started asking for the questions, so we made it a game. The game consists of 3 levels to get people to open up. Level 1 breaks the ice, but it hits a little harder than your traditional icebreakers. Level 2 is confessions. It reveals a side of you that you kind of want to let out, but you never really get the chance to. Level 3 gives you the keys to unlock the part of you hide from the world, but it does it in a way that feels natural, so you can actually learn about someone else and so they can get to know the real you too.
All right, so that's the game. It's not a game, it's just topic cards. Mm-hmm. So I will let you pick whatever card you wish to do. Go ahead and leave it face down, and we'll just get to it as we get to it. It's not a magic trick. I mean, you can magician. You can look at them, but it's not. It's just so that we don't get
surprise.
That one. All righty, and one more wild card here.
Oh boy.
All right. Now, throughout the throughout the podcast, feel free to flip those as you wish. They don't have to be in order. They don't have to be in any kind of time frame. We don't have to do them back to back to back. Just as kind of conversation dies down, or as we just go right into things, feel free to flip those, and it'll change the topic. It'll change the flow of the conversation, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good.
Why don't we do number 1 first, and then we'll flip from there.
If you could compliment yourself, what would you say?
I think I'm a hard worker.
Okay.
I think when I do things that I like to do, I'm a hard worker. If I don't like doing it, I'm pretty lazy at it. But if it's something that I enjoy doing, I think I'm a hard worker at it. It's a very vague compliment, but
yeah, compliments are hard, especially if you're
yourself
looking
is
at
hard.
yourself. Yes. Like looking into yourself, that is hard.
we're all such critics.
Yes.
To ourselves.
Yes.
We're our worst critic ever.
Yep.
And
it's very cliche to say, but it's true.
And most people talk negatively to themselves.
Yep.
I heard a quote once, or advice once, that was, talk to yourself the way you'd talk to one of your friends.
Yeah.
Don't be so negative on yourself. Don't
Yep.
curse at yourself and put yourself down, but talk to yourself and give yourself the advice that you would give one of your friends.
Right. The biggest thing is get rid of that negative self-talk and get out of your head.
Absolutely.
I mean, I would say that for you too. Like, if it's something that you want, you're not going to change your mind. Like, here we are.
Yeah.
It's been 2 years, I feel like, and you did it.
Yeah.
For myself, I mean, it's kind of like, yes, if I want something, I'll do it, but more like I think I contain the patience to pursue my dreams. Like, I know if it's meant to be, it's going to happen, and I just remind myself of that. But I feel like I'm the person that can stay calm on the outside, even if I'm freaking out on the inside.
Yeah. Like, I think
for the most part.
Yeah. I think you're along in that same kind of line of thinking. You're good at having a general plan.
Yeah.
And following that plan. Whereas I am like, we'll figure it out.
Yep.
We're just going to, I don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And it's going to get done in the end. But
I feel like I have too much anxiety to just be like, oh, we're just going to start driving in the car.
Yeah. I feel like you have steps that you need to take that
Yeah.
you do take
Yeah.
to get to a certain goal or get to a certain point. And I'm just like, I don't know, on the fly, we'll figure it out. I don't know what
Probably
what
why we
need.
get along.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a blessing and a curse. It's fine.
It truly is. Oh man.
Oh well.
I don't know. I feel like there was something else.
Well, while you think of it, we're gonna do wild card.
We're doing wild card, straight to wild card.
Oh yeah, we are. We have to express how we really feel about each other.
If you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. Next.
Yeah.
No.
And I mean, I feel
Compose
like
my thoughts here for a second.
I know. I feel like we talk a lot about like us.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I use you as a resource. I don't want to say I use you. I don't use you. You're my friend. Being my friend, you're getting used as a resource a lot of the time. But as an outlet, as a person I seek for advice or guidance in certain ways, because you're way more mature than I am. That's for sure. You're on a very different path, and I feel like I look to you for, hey, is this a dumb idea? Hey, am I crazy for thinking this or doing this? And so I feel like you're there for me when I need a guidance. And there are a few friends that I do that with for in certain circumstances.
Well, there's a thing, like, we were just talking about it, and that's how, like, when it comes to friendships, you don't want to cast a wide net, you want to cast a deep net, because if you build those relationships, then they actually mean something, and you know they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I feel
There
like
you
that's
go.
justifying having only 4 friends.
Yeah.
Like I don't
I
have
know.
a lot of friends.
Hey,
I have good friends.
It does not matter how many friends you have. If they're good and they're not going anywhere, it's fine,
That's
right?
true. That is true. That is very, very true. I have a small friend group.
Yeah.
I have a large acquaintance group,
Right.
but people who actually know anything about me
Yeah.
is very, very narrow, but
Yeah.
deep.
Well, and you're kind of like an onion. Like,
Ogres are like onions.
They stink?
Yes. No! Layers! Onions have layers. Ogres have layers. Onions have layers. You get it. We both have layers.
I'm
I feel
very
like I
much
just
onion.
keep peeling
Thank you.
layers off you.
Yeah.
But there's a reason you're pinned in my text messages because we
Exactly.
talk like every day.
Or you'll get a random text at 3:30 in the morning of
Yeah.
some chaos that
Uh-huh.
I'm just going
Yep.
through. There are a couple friends that get those texts as well.
Yeah.
You know who you are when I get chaotic at 3 in the morning.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. I've used my other outlets.
Yeah. Well, healthy or not, here we are.
How about you? What do you got?
Oh,
Or
I
is that
don't.
the same?
I
similar
mean,
vein?
pretty much. Like we definitely rely on each
You
other for
definitely
like.
don't look to me for advice.
I
on
mean, I
some
feel like I
things.
could.
Yeah, you could.
There's definitely things like we are very knowledgeable about different things, and like we work in very different like worlds.
Yeah.
And so I mean, like we never run out of things to talk about, and
Oh,
so
yeah,
it's
absolutely.
like we can always go to each other and be like, "Hey, what if this happened?" or "What would we do this?" or you know.
Yeah.
I feel like it.
How
it
would
works.
you approach the situation?
And there's never any judgment. We don't judge.
No.
Not each other anyway.
Never. We know too many things about each other to judge
Yeah, that'd be bad.
each other. Yeah, no. Doesn't happen. Doesn't happen.
No.
But good.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Next.
You want to do questions? Want to do some random ones?
I might as well. We'll save these two.
I got some. My brain works in pretty mysterious ways.
Weird ways.
No one really knows. They've done studies on it. No one understands what happens. I've got some questions that I am interested to see what your reaction is or what your answer is. Starting off with some easy ones.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen any great movies recently that you're like, I love this movie. This was not a waste of money. So, okay. So I had a friend ask me if they, sorry. I had a friend ask me if they wanted to go watch The Sound of Freedom
Okay.
movie,
Mhm.
which is a movie about like human trafficking and child whatever.
Yeah.
It's a rough movie. Like
Mhm.
I haven't seen it yet, still in theaters, but at this time at least. But I was like, I don't want to go pay money to get upset.
Right.
Like, because I know I'm sure it's a good movie. I'm sure it's well produced and I'm sure it's very informative and helpful, but I don't want to pay however much money to go watch a movie that's just going to upset me.
Right.
I'll pay.
And-
I'll happily pay for entertainment. I'll happily
Right.
pay to be entertained and comedy and fun and an Avengers movie or something. But to go pay money to sit in a theater for 3 hours to be upset
Mm-hmm.
is like, I'm not doing that.
It's almost like you have to be in the mood and you want to be on your couch
Yeah.
to be in
Yeah.
that mind space.
Yeah.
But I get that.
So, what's a good movie that you've seen where you're like,
Um,
that was worth the money or worth my 2 hours?
I honestly can't say the last time I've been to the movie theater. Well, actually, okay, I
Doesn't
do
have to
know.
be at a movie
I
theater.
do know. The last movie I went to was Top Gun.
Really?
Yes.
In theaters?
Yes.
Oh,
that was the
nice.
last time I've been to the movie theater. And I mean, that one, I'll watch anytime.
Really?
Yes.
Good movie?
Very good.
Good.
Have you not seen it?
I haven't seen the new one yet. I also haven't seen the original, so I don't.
Okay. Well, now you're going to watch the original and the new one.
Back to back.
You can stream them.
Yeah, I could. No, I haven't seen either of them.
I was going to say the most recent movie I've watched was Ticket to Paradise with George
Ticket to
Clooney
Paradise.
and Julia Roberts. They go, so they're divorced, and their daughter goes and meets a guy on like vacation and ends up getting married, and they're trying to break up the wedding, and then in the end they all come together. It's like a Hallmark movie. It was good. There was comedy,
Yeah,
but I mean it was very predictable, and it was just something that was on, so I watched it.
of course. Of course.
But otherwise, I mean, I don't. The last like great movie was probably Top Gun.
Really?
Like it just gets you in your feels.
Mm.
See, now you have to watch it.
Now I have to watch it.
You
I
have
have
to
to be able
watch
to
it.
relate. I have
Yes.
to watch it.
And the music's good. The action's good. What about you?
There are a few that come to mind
Mm.
when I think of some really, really good movies. I loved Dune. and Dune 2 is coming out here shortly. Wasn't too fond of Avatar, the new Avatar. It was good, but it wasn't as groundbreaking as the original when it was. Now, I'm sure there's some groundbreaking things about it with the water sims and filmmaking and doing underwater stuff, and I think somebody almost accidentally drowned one of the actors because they were doing underwater stuff. So like it was a good movie, but I wasn't like in awe of it by any means. One movie that I did watch recently that I loved is Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Okay, I haven't watched it. I saw
God.
it pop up, but I haven't watched it.
My goodness. It's so again, back to my brain working in mysterious ways.
I was gonna say it kind of encompasses your mind. Everywhere.
It is my exact it's an example of my exact thought process on time travel and parallel universes and alternate dimensions, and being how every decision that you make in life branches off into a different timeline, essentially. Branches off into a different reality. So had I worn a blue hoodie instead of a orange hoodie, we're in a different timeline. Very, very similar. I'm sure the conversation in that timeline is very much the same, but there's just one subtle change. And then had you turned left instead of right, had you gotten Burger King instead of McDonald's, had these little tiny changes, had you ran the red light instead of stopping, maybe in that timeline you get in a car accident and you crash and you die at that point. But it's like, as every single decision that you make branches off into a different reality. It goes into that thought process. And so the whole, it's a 3-hour movie. I understood every single thing about it. I understood the entire plot. I know some people get confused about it and there's a lot going on. I understood everything about it because I already think that way.
Right.
That's already my theory on parallel universes and time travel and blending between it. It won a ton of awards.
Yeah.
And it's well worth the watch. If you can sit down and have the patience to actually focus on the movie and not get bored and sit on your phone and whatever, if you can actually sit down and focus on the movie, it's a great movie.
Okay.
It breaks dimensions, and it breaks it down in such a way that it's easy to follow.
Okay.
I think. I don't know.
Huh. Well,
I understood it perfectly. It was great.
Interesting.
I loved it. On that same thought process,
Uh-huh.
are there any movies that you wish you had never seen, that you have seen that you're like, oh, it was a waste of time, or it's like a horror film that you can't get out of your head?
Yeah.
There are two for me that I wish I would have never seen.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Right away comes Joyride from 2001. Don't know if you've ever seen that one with Paul Walker and all that. They get stalked by a trucker.
Okay.
And he eventually starts like kidnapping and murdering people.
Okay.
It has scarred me for life when it comes to truck stops.
Nice.
And I don't want to walk by semis. I don't want to do this. Like, he
Wonderful.
hunts them in their car on a road trip where it's before cell phones, it's before all that. So they have
Ooh.
CB radio in the car.
Ooh.
And he gets on their station and they don't know who it is, but he keeps an eye on them this whole time, and eventually he like starts kidnapping and chases them through a cornfield and all these things. No, ruined it for me.
Yeah, no thank you.
Yep. To this day, every time I see semis, that's what I think of.
No thanks.
I think you should watch it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's a good way to throw off my anxiety for a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate that. I changed my mind. There's three. There's three. There's two older movies and there's one brand new movie that I just wish I would have never seen. The newest one is called Fall.
Okay.
It's about these two girls who are free climbers and they climb mountains or whatever, but they decide to go and climb this like super tall cell tower or something that's like 2,200 feet or something like that. And just some chaos breaks out while they're up there. It's not a good movie. Like, it made me panic the whole time because A, I'm not good with heights, and B, I'm not good in situations like that. And it's an okay movie. It's worth the watch if you're like bored on a Saturday night or something. It's fine, but it upset me the whole time. It upset me, so I'm glad I didn't pay for it.
Yeah,
you know? I'm glad it was free.
I'd just be anxious.
It's upsetting the whole time. Like, it's unfortunate. They do a good job of like tricking you, and you have a good like, well, like whatever psychological thriller aspect to it.
Yeah.
But it's upsetting.
Mm-mm.
The second one is called Awake, back from like 2008, I think. Not the Awake that's on Netflix now, but it's a movie from 2007. It's called Awake, and essentially it's a guy who goes into surgery, but they didn't give him enough anesthesia, so his brain's alert, but his body is like, so he can feel everything, but he can't move. So he can hear, he can feel, he can see. He can't see, but his eyes are closed. But he can feel everything they're doing to him, but he can't move to signal to them that he's awake. And so it just takes, the whole movie takes place in this operating room on the operating table. It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible. I hate it. It freaked me out. It's got stars in it. Like, it has a reasonable cast. Hayden Christensen, Jessica Alba. Like, it's got a reasonable cast, but it's horrible. It's horrible. And my last movie that I absolutely hate, that tortures me to this day, is called Buried.
Oh.
You know this movie?
Yes.
I hate this movie. So
I have
this
anxiety.
the entire movie takes place also a reasonably named actor.
Yes. I've
Ryan
watched
Reynolds.
that. Yeah.
The whole movie takes place inside of a wooden box. The entire film. Essentially, he gets kidnapped and buried in this wooden box somewhere in the desert in sand, and he's trying to call on a phone that is in Arabic, not in English, and he's trying to find his way out. He has a lighter, he has a phone, and he has something else. No water, no food, no air. And the whole film takes place in this box. So I'm sure the budget was super cheap.
Oh, I'm
sure
sure
it was super easy to make.
Yeah.
But this thing is horrible. It gave me panic attacks. It gave me PTSD. It's terrible. Everyone should go watch
one of the worst ways to die.
And there's a great twist at the end.
Yeah.
So you should definitely watch it until the very last minute, because it's the way that, so I have, all right, here we go. Here's how my brain works.
Oh God.
I have a couple of films, like storylines in my head that I'm like, would love to pitch someday.
Yeah.
And one of them is a psychological thriller that typically in film, there's all this build-up, psychological thriller, anxiety, nervousness, a peak, and then a relief. There's like, the person who gets kidnapped is found, the killer gets caught, whatever it is, there's always this climax and then this relief. In this movie, and in my movie, there's no relief. You just get upset.
Yeah.
You there's this peak, and when you think the person's gonna get saved, they just don't. There's just no relief. It's terrible. But I'm filming one. I have one of those in my head. So it's like,
Great.
no, it's not.
You're really pitching it
It's
here.
not meant to be a film that people are gonna love.
Yeah.
It's
But we're
just-
back to, you got to be in the mood for this downer.
That's the other thing. You have to be ready to watch this film. It's not like a pleasant film.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, man.
we got to
All
get
right.
happier.
Let's get off. Let's get off the topic of film here. Have you heard of this artist known as Mr. Doodle?
No.
He's not a part of the Wiggles or anything. He's not like.
Are you sure?
He's not. He might be. I don't know. But he's this artist who's famous for doing like permanent marker, like thick Sharpie, like drawings, like doodles. And he started out trying to just give them away, like sell them for $1.
Yeah.
And now he goes for like millions of dollars because he's famous online now. But you got to take a look. You got to see some of his stuff.
2015, struggling to sell my doodles for £1 or trading them for food.
Yeah, sell these drawings. I don't want to buy nothing.
5 years later, my doodles sell for up to $1 million at auction. $800 to $1,000. $640 for $1,000. $641,000.
So those are like duplicates or like remakes of famous paintings in his own doodle.
Yeah.
But like let's go to his page here. He makes like stuff on his own. Like he does like drawings on his own. Like here's some. But yeah, they're all like thick permanent marker style drawings, which are pretty cool. Like they're abstract and they're like linear. It's kind of chaos. It's kind of art.
A little cartoony, but
cartoony,
abstract too.
Yeah. So it's interesting.
Very.
But
can't imagine having a whole house.
But so that's the thing. So
Last year I finished my doodle house. I
bought a
started
house.
the project in 2020. To begin, we used 900 liters of white paint
and
to
doodled
make
through the whole house.
A blank white canvas. I hired my Uncle Big G and his team of workers, including my granddad Papa Doodle, to prepare the house for me. Getting the house in a state where it was ready for doodling took around 6 months. The doodling began in September 2020 and the first doodles were created upstairs in the bedroom. My vision was always to create a stop-motion animation of the whole process, which is something I've experimented with in my work in the past. That process was very painstaking. On average, I'd create between 2 and 4 photographs of my progress each day, and these would eventually all be put together. The final film contains 1,857 photographs, which, when viewed as an animation, make the drawings look as if they're growing by themselves, a true representation of the doodle virus. During the process, I used 286 bottles of black drawing paint, as well as 2,296 pen nibs. The pens I use are refillable, so I only used a handful of those. Within the house, each room has a different theme, like the kitchen is full of doodles of food and the preparation of food. I dreamt about this project since I was 15 years old, ever since I first covered my bedroom at my parents' house with doodles. When I told people about my dream, many people said I was crazy, that it could never be done, or that I'd be stopped by the council or my neighbors. But I never let this stop me. I was determined to achieve this dream I couldn't go a few hours without thinking about. My passion and obsession for doodling inspired me every minute of every day until the project was complete. Never give up on your dream. Myself and Mrs. Doodle now happily live in the Doodle house, along with baby Doodle.
Wow.
Yeah. So is that cool or is that chaotic?
A little bit of both. I think it has to be cool to be chaotic.
I think so too. I think it's there's one more where he explains it.
I feel like it would hurt your eyes.
Yeah.
And don't go in there under the influence of any kind.
I did a 50-hour doodle marathon. Our one was spent working on
there's one that he like explains like the whole process of it. No. No. Maybe this one.
Trading my doodles for all kinds of things in Hastings, UK, 2015.
Excellent. Yes. Thank you very much.
So right there, he's trading his doodles for like a balloon. Like he's trying to trade up.
I could sell you a drawing for maybe a pen, so I could draw some more. What about 2 drawings? What about 3 drawings? Oh, okay then. Goodbye. Hi there. Would I be able to get some mushy peas for a drawing, please? So I give you a drawing, and then I get some mushy peas.
These people probably see him now and are like, "Why didn't we do it?"
I didn't do it. Missed opportunity.
Well,
Yeah.
see you later.
managed to get a ride on this for a doodle.
There you go. Thanks very much. Cheers.
Ice cream. Doodalicious.
For a piece of fish? Oh, good.
Doodle for a fish.
That's it. Put it in the dish of over. Thanks very much.
Time for a little doodle dance.
Trading my doodle.
Yeah, super interesting, right? Again, there's one that he like explains everything that goes into it. I don't remember where it is though.
It makes me think of like SpongeBob. and
Doodle
the
Bob.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very Doodle Bob-esque.
Yeah. Like we're just gonna go doodle our world.
Yeah. But it's super cool, strange, both.
Yeah, definitely both.
It's interesting. Would you buy a house that's just doodle like that?
No.
No, me either. But
It'd be too
it's-
much to take in.
It's a full art project and everything. Like it's like good for him. But
I feel like it would have to be like a museum.
It kind of is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess like every single doodle is different. Like he doesn't repeat a shape or a character or anything. Every single piece in that whole house is a different.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of brain power.
It's chaos. It's chaos.
Yeah.
The Ticklish podcast is supported by Primo Golf Apparel. If you've seen me on the golf course over the past few years, you've definitely seen me in Primo Golf joggers. They are the best joggers in the game. Primo offers high-performance, fitted, breathable, and fantastic-looking clothing. Their joggers are made of 4-way stretch material that has water and snag resistance. They come in 3 different lengths to provide the best fit for anyone, tall, small, or somewhere in between. They are absolutely the best fitting jogger I've found in the industry. And trust me, I've tried them all so you don't have to. They are truly the most comfortable and best fitting golf jogger I've ever worn. But they didn't just stop at joggers. They offer all kinds of apparel and accessories from shorts, golf shirts, and quarter zips to hats, belts, and one of the most comfortable hoodies you will ever wear. Go to primogolfapparel.com and use the promo code Ticklish for 15% off your next order. That's Primo golfapparel.com and use promo code TICKLISH at checkout for 15% off your next order. Primo, clothing for athletic golfers. Have you seen the Vegas sphere that they built up?
Yes.
Is speaking of chaos,
Vegas.
Vegas, the Vegas sphere. So the Vegas sphere is this building, art piece, stadium, all of the above.
All of the above.
Which is like a 3/4 sphere ball, not a dome where it's halfway, but it's more than that.
Yeah.
That has a ton of LEDs around the outside of the building and on the inside to create images, like a globe, like an eyeball, like a pumpkin, like a basketball. It's just some crazy images that they can put on the sphere, which is like 300 feet tall.
Yeah.
Like it's a massive thing. Now imagine you're in a casino or you're drunk or you're partying or you're on drugs or whatever in Vegas and you go outside and you just see a planet in the middle of the city. Like it just turned on and it's like you walk out to this. Like how crazy is that? The moon, the earth, like
Yeah.
it's massive.
A giant jack-o'-lantern.
A giant jack-o'-lantern for Halloween. It's you should look into the building of this and what goes into it, because it's a massive ordeal, and they're generating new technology and ways of filming and ways of projecting to get this to all work perfectly.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Do you think there's anything that what would you recommend they put on to, like, what makes sense? Like, it's in Vegas, so basketball for like the NBA finals,
right,
or something makes sense, like something like that, or something relative to the performance that's going to be there, seasonal things, maybe, like, but like an eyeball.
I was going to say, I don't know about the eyeball.
It's freaky, but like, what could they do? This is like rippling water. What could they do to make this, like, I guess, cool to everyone? Like, what do you think some things that you could put on here? Like, I saw one that was like some renderings of what people wanted. Someone used like a Pokeball and maybe like the Dragon Ball Z. Oh, not that. Someone had a rendering of it, but I guess not. But like, what are some things that you could think of that they could put in here that would be like super cool to some random audience, I guess? What would you recommend? Do you have anything you would recommend?
Not the eyeball. Yeah,
maybe not the eyeball.
Not the eyeball.
Maybe nothing scary like that.
I mean, I feel like Vegas is so highly traveled that maybe incorporating things from other people's cultures, or like flags, or
like, I think like seasons. I think football season or basketball or NBA or hockey, whatever. Like, could you broadcast on it? Do you think you could like put a game on the thing, or maybe like a video of some kind? That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's not just a static image.
Right. Is that a frog? Okay. Yeah.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, I mean,
it's maybe like a map of stars, and you could do all sorts of stuff at night.
It's a cool thing. Like, I like the thing of it.
It's crazy. I can only imagine, like, it's a lot of cost to maintain.
For sure, and light.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at this.
Fireworks, that'd be cool.
Fireworks would be cool for the 4th of July.
Yeah.
You're right.
I'm trying to think of things that would look cool in a sphere.
Right.
Instead of like flat.
Maybe like someone had the Star Wars planet on there, or that moon. Probably planets would be cool if it just like rotated through planets.
Yeah.
That might be cool.
Be like a real life planetarium, or like solar system, and it's crazy how seamless it appears.
It's amazing. It's amazing. But yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah.
I think it's a super cool thing.
See that? Yeah, that's cool.
I think if you walked out of your apartment or hotel room, I think you'd be freaked out.
Yeah, for sure.
Look out the window and see a planet.
Or if it's the eye staring at you.
The eye staring at you.
It's
yeah, I don't like the eyeball at all.
It's a lot like Planet Earth. We used to watch in school.
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of.
Clouds.
I mean, you could pretty much put anything on there, and now with being able to do like 360 cameras and stuff, you could put anything.
There's the moon or Mars. It looks like the moon.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's super. I'm glad it's happening. I'm glad it's real and it happens, but it's super strange.
Yeah. We're all about strange today.
We're all about the weird today. But I'm glad it's a thing. I guess they can hold concerts and venue and stuff inside, and there's LEDs on the inside as well. So now it's like you're inside of a sphere of whatever performance you want to have inside of it. So they can do light shows and stuff like that for concerts.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's why I guess I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
This is the giant $2.3 billion sphere that's been dominating the Las Vegas skyline since it lit up on July 1, and it could be the entertainment venue of the future. The MSG Sphere at the Venetian is billed as the world's largest video screen, and while the outside is extraordinary, it's what's inside that could change the live music and film experience as we know it. The bowl-shaped theatre contains the world's highest resolution wraparound LED screen that will blow the IMAX theatre experience out of the water. A fully immersive venue, haptic seats can vibrate to mimic whatever is on screen, including an earthquake, while 4D machines can create wind, temperature, and even scent effects. There's also next-level audio with more than 160,000 speakers. The venue will be opened by U2 in September with a series of concerts built around the band's landmark 1991 album, Achtung Baby.
Yeah. Just a big dome.
Yeah. It's cool. It's cool. I like it. Speaking of planets, so you saw the planet Earth on here. It's a cool looking
and some sci-fi planets
and some it's cool. It's a cool thing. Do you think if planets like in our solar system were more visible in our sky, like as large as the moon, how like we can see the moon obviously with our naked eye, but you can see the detail of the moon and the impact craters and things like that, if there were other planets in our sky like about the size of the moon, if they were just closer, not so much that they'd affect our gravity or our gravitational pull and stuff, but if they were just more visible, do you think people would care more about space travel and flying cars and accessing different planets and sort of that sort of thing? Versus, I mean, we are now, like, there are groups of people and organizations who do care about that a lot. Yeah. But it's hard to get a lot of people on board with that when it's invisible. Yeah. You can't see it.
So, yeah, it's out of sight, out of mind. They're not going to take the time and energy to focus on it when they don't think it's obtainable.
Right.
So I feel like if you could see it, if you could go out at evening or night or whatever and see all around like the solar system, yes, I think a lot more people would be focused on that, because now they're like, it's not your imagination, like it's there. You don't have to believe what you see and hear. You can see it with your own eyes.
Right.
So yeah, I think it would move a lot of people forward in that thinking.
Like if it was something like this.
Yeah, that'd be insane.
It'd be insane, amazing. How like, now that's a bit large. I feel like that might be a little chaotic. But like if it was something along the lines of that, how you can see other planets from just in our sky, I think it'd be so much more cool. And people would pursue space travel more
Yeah.
than what we have now.
There are just so many aspects of like our universe that people don't know about.
Yeah.
There's a lot of unknowns, but there could be a lot of cool stuff out there too.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
But
takes
it's
you
hard
back
to
to
get
your
on board
parallel
with,
universe.
Yeah, it's hard to get on board with things that you can't quite see.
Yeah.
Without having equipment. And
Seeing
tech.
is believing.
Seeing truly is believing. You're right.
Okay, let's go to level 2. What is something you have been told that you'll never forget? How deep will you go?
Feel free to go if you have one, but
Racking my brain.
I know I need to think. This can all get cut out too. Until we answer.
That you will never forget.
What's something you've been told that you'll never forget?
I feel like it could be something super simple, but I'm overthinking this. I feel like I guess...
And it can't be like a math equation.
Right.
Or...
Yeah, something you learn. Like
yeah.
something that someone has approached you to say that has stuck with you forever. I guess something that comes to mind is my parents always said the biggest compliment is when people like compliment the children. So like my parents always took it as a big compliment when people approached them and said like, oh my God, your kids are awesome. Like they're just so well behaved,
Yeah.
or they have great manners, or they're so respectful. And so it like just reminds you to like just be a good person.
Yeah.
I guess that would work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. There's a weird, vague and deep one that gets a little weird. I don't know that my parents know this one, so this might be news to mom and dad. But when I was 12, 13, I got super sick with something. We don't know. Doctor doesn't know. Nobody really knows what this is. It just kind of comes up and whatever. It attacks your lymph nodes, your lymph glands. So I had like these massive swollen lymph nodes all over my body. And I had this fever that was, and people are not going to believe this, but it would range from like 104 to 107. So like this like flow, like it would go up to 107, 108, and which is like not healthy, which is not safe. Like that's where stuff goes wrong.
Yeah.
And when I would take medicine and take fever reduction and stuff like that, it would drop down to like 103, 104, which is like a high fever.
Yeah.
Like in 108, it'd spike back up to 108. It was like this for a long time of like pain. I couldn't move. I was kind of like all my lymph nodes in my neck were swollen, so I couldn't like move my head around. It was painful. It was terrible. And so we went to my local doctor a lot, and they did blood tests, and they did blood work, and they did swabs, and they did scans, and they tried to do everything to figure out what it was. No real answer. And so they sent me to this like children's hospital in southern Illinois to see a specialist about something. I don't know. And they had me down there for 4 days on a special medicine that was, I don't know, kicking in or something. And after 4 days in the hospital, IV, meds constantly, my fever went down, my pain went away, my lymph nodes stopped swelling. But like when I was in that hospital, they brought in like specialists. There was like 15 doctors in the room at one time, all touching me and trying to see what's going on and getting their opinion in and whatnot. And after it was all said and done and the medicine kicked in and it all went away and I was back to normal, my parents went out to like sign the paperwork or the billing or something like that with like the nurse, and the main doctor came in to the room and he sat down on the side of the bed and he's like, you know, you're not like, most kids don't like live through this. Like this normally takes out something like this would take out kids. And so you're actually kind of lucky that you got through this. Like normally your heart would give out or your brain would deteriorate from the heat, and typically your heart would you'd have a heart attack and you'd die from that. But he said it very nicely. He wasn't like rude saying you should have died, kid. He was very much like breaking it down for a 12-year-old to go, hey, this normally doesn't work out for people. And so that was a very long way to get to this reaction of this doctor sitting down saying, after about 30 days or a month of this fever and nobody knows what's going on and in and out of hospitals and scans and all this, to have like finally meds kick in, 4 days in the hospital, constant IV. There's a picture of it somewhere on like my Facebook or something where like I was sweated out all of my fat. I wasn't eating. I was skin and bones at that point. Yeah. And you can see every bone in my hand and every vein in my hand as I'm in the hospital. You can see that like I haven't showered in days. I look gross, but all of my hands are like, both of my hands, all of my fingers, you can see like all of the bones, all of the veins, everything in my hands, because it's just, I'm drained. Nothing left. And the doctor was just like, hey, kids don't normally like get through this, so move forward with this. Like, hey,
you were given a second chance, basically.
Good luck, buddy. So it was again, I don't even think my parents were in the room for that. I don't know if they were even told that, but they had left the room, I think, to take care of billing, and the doctor came in and was like trying to just give me some bedside manner of like, hey, you're good now, you can go home. And he was just like, hey, I don't even know what the heck this was. I don't know why it went away, but this doesn't normally work out. So,
that's a lot to put on a kid.
Again,
first
it was he did it in a nice way. It wasn't like stressful and or anything like that, but he it was very much like, whoa. Like I was old enough to understand the gravity of the moment, right? But I wasn't old enough to be like, oh my god, I'm dying. Like I wasn't worried about it. It was just like, oh yeah, it kind of is rough.
Very.
So
that's
a deeper one.
That is deep.
How deep will we go? That deep.
That was deep. And that's not even level 3.
Not even level 3. So that's a weird one that I don't normally tell people. So we're gonna put it on the internet in the podcast. I don't normally tell people that. I tell people that way later in like a relationship or friendship, but like we've known each other for years, and I've never brought that up because it's not necessary. But it was a weird one. It was a real weird. Again, it was like 30 days or so of fever and scans and documenting and everything. And then at the end of it, once I got cured or whatever, this is where my fear of needles comes in. I had to do blood tests twice a day, every day for 3 weeks. So 7 a.m. in the morning as soon as the clinic opened, and 5 p.m. at night as soon as the clinic was about to close. I'd be their first and their last customer, and they'd measure my like white blood cell count. Like measure me and track me. So I guess the way that the virus or whatever it was works is that it attacks your lymph nodes, which control your white blood cell count, which which helps to fight any virus in your. I don't know anything about nursing or medical. This is my bro science way of breaking this down, so it makes sense in my head. I guess it attacks the lymph nodes, which regulates your white blood cell count in your blood, so it couldn't heal itself in any kind of way. And so I guess your normal white blood cell count, let's say, is 10,000 per deciliter, or whatever the thing is. If it's a 10,000, I had 200. So I had like 2% of what I was supposed to have to like fight off whatever virus or illness it was, and so it just went in and shut down all of the healer cells.
That would explain your needles.
So I had for 2 or 3 weeks straight, it was just monitoring blood, and twice a day, every day. Morning was left arm, evening was right arm, twice a day, every day.
Just looking like a junkie.
And by the time at 13, by the time I got done with those 2 weeks of 2 or 3 weeks of blood taking, I would just walk in and be like, "Here we go, Linda. Let's go. Come on, give it to me. All right, yeah, here we go." And so it was just like, I was numb to it at that point. But I now I have this like fear of needles.
Yeah.
Fear of needles and sharp objects, and just like, ugh.
I get that.
Why.
Yeah.
Now you know why.
Yeah. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely deep rooted.
That's a deep one.
Yeah.
That's a deep one.
Well, let's just clear
Let's
three
go
while
straight
we're
into
at
all
it.
three.
Since we're all that deep. What are you afraid of passing down to your kids?
Ooh. I know mine.
Let's
My anxiety and depressive stuff. That whatever's going on in this brain up here.
Yeah.
That's what worries me.
Yeah. I feel like, I'd say like mental health in any aspect, especially our generation. Like, I feel like our generation was hit so hard because of the introduction of social media and all those things, to where we all have so much going on all the time.
Yeah.
But yet we're supposed to be so aware of everyone else too.
Yeah.
That is definitely a fear of passing that on to your family. Like, are we going to miss things? Are we going to not notice that they're going through something? Are we going to, mess them up?
Because we're not paying attention enough.
Yeah.
We're too busy online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just in our head, or like just absent.
This social media life that we're in is not normal. Like, you're not supposed to be able to know what everyone is doing at all times and be able to broadcast to millions of people at once.
Right.
You're meant to be, not you're meant to, but like, through evolution, we've only had groups of 100, 200 people in our whole community. Like, that's the, forget the name of it, but it's, there's a law, like a physics law, that says like you can only have like 200 names in your head at once. You can only think of 200 people at a time or something like that.
Yeah.
Because beyond that, you don't need to worry about more than 200 people at a time. You don't need to know names of 200 people, more than 200 people at a time.
Yeah.
Without having to like consciously think of like people you went to high school with, and you can only be consciously thinking of like 100 people at a time.
Right, and even that can be a struggle.
Dunbar's number, is that right? I think it's Dunbar's number.
Maybe. Yeah, it's definitely not natural or normal, but we find ourselves in this like vicious cycle of, okay, what's everyone doing? What am I missing out on? What should we be doing? What should we be getting? Kind of thing.
Dunbar's number is a suggested cognitive limit to the number of people with whom you can maintain stable social relationships. Relationships in which an individual knows who each person is and how each person relates to every other person. Dunbar's number.
Yep.
So that's the number I'm thinking of, where you can only have so many relationships. You can only think of so many people at one time.
Yeah.
That number's like 100. It says 100 to 250. So it's like, there's no need to have 1 million followers.
Right.
Or following on social media 1,000 people or 2,000 people or 3,000 accounts, where it's like, you have too much going on.
Right.
You're not, I guess you're not focusing on the right things.
Yeah, you're not focusing on yourself and your circle and how to improve your situation.
Things that directly relate to you. You're kind of distracting yourself from
reality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. We need to get off of this downer topic. How do we always end this podcast with some sort of downer aspect of,
I don't know. We're going to get a complex.
I want to read one quick quote, poem, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
Before we go into the music segment, but yeah. So this is a quote by Albert Schweitzer. Don't know if you know the name, probably not, but it's a quote by Albert Schweitzer. In everyone's life, at some time, our inner fire goes out. It is then burst into flame by an encounter with another human being. We should all be thankful for those people who rekindle our inner spirit.
Yeah.
So the thought is that we all get burnt out at some point,
Mm-hmm.
and an encounter with somebody brings that drive back.
Yeah.
Whether that's in a relationship or in your daily life or in your job or whatever it may be.
Right.
But
Yeah,
we should all be thankful for those people who do bring back that kick.
Yeah.
It could be a rude coach. It could be a bad parent. It could be somebody who really kicks you in the butt but gets you going.
I feel like it could even be just a small like acquaintance or like
Could be
interaction in the
it could
street
be-
or
it
like
could be seeing a guy homeless on the street and you
Yeah.
go, I do not want to be that in any situation.
Right.
Under any circumstance. I want to be better than that.
yeah, definitely words to live by.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get in the music segment. So go ahead over to Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your podcast, because YouTube won't let you play music on your show. So until that changes, you got to go over and follow us on Spotify. All right, we'll see you later. Thank you. Thank you all so much for watching. If it wasn't for you, it'd just be me talking into a microphone, looking at a camera, talking to my buddies. It's with no audience, there is no show. So thank you for watching, listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on all of the listening platforms. Thank you. We will see you in the next one. Peace.